I'm delighted to be on another episode of Administration with Nancy. I am Nancy Ekwezu, your admin girl, and I'm here with a guest today, and we'll be talking about starting and running a profitable school. So I'll tell you a bit about this show. On Administration with Nancy, I bring in guests who are doing well in various aspects of administration, management, leadership, education, and we talk about issues that concern us and how you can pick a tip or two to help you. And I'm the lead consultant at Peso Smith Consulting, a firm that is focused on building structure and administrative structure and management for schools and organizations to help them stay sustainable. You might want to visit my website, www.nancyekwezu.com, to see more of the work that my organization is doing. So today's episode is a very special one, and I decided to choose this topic because I've noticed that lots of people think that when you retire, the next thing to do is to start a school. I mean, in the post-pandemic, we've seen quite a number of schools struggling because we found that they had no structure or what it takes to build, or maybe the owners didn't have the right motive or the vision to even start a school. And maybe they just had the money and decided to start a school. So there have been so many inboxes of people asking me if I want to buy a school or if I know someone who wants to buy, and that tells me a lot. It means that some people may have started a school with assumptions. And so today we're going to bust those assumptions, and I have with me here no other person than Mr. Bello Abdulrahman Adedigba. I spotted this man on Facebook, and I follow his work as much as he follows mine, and he has a really great group, the Innovative School Owners Group on Facebook, which is vibrant and growing. I think there are over 20,000 now, or 30, and that's really so impressive. Okay, so I'm going to introduce my guest right away, and we'll get right to the conversation today. So stay glued and make sure you subscribe to this channel right away. So Mr. Bello Abdulrahman Adedigba is an author, he's an insightful speaker and a school growth strategist with about 17 years experience in the education sector as a teacher, as a head of school, and as a school owner and an entrepreneur. He's the man you call for if your school is experiencing any form of challenges as regards growth and branding and sustainability. He's the founder of the vibrant Facebook group, the Innovative School Owners Network, and he's happily married and resides in Lagos. So welcome to the show, Mr. Abdulrahman Adedigba.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be on your show, Miss Nancy.
Okay, so we're going to go right away. Remember, the topic is starting and running a profitable school. Starting and running a profitable school. So I'll give the first question right away. Could you just share a bit about your school? Where is it located? What is it? What is it like? What has your success story been? And what motivated you to start this school?
Yes, thank you for having me once again. My school is at Badagry in Badagry. We actually started the school in the year 2014. I started Peki Hills Nursery and Primary School in the year 2014. The reason being that passion and purpose were the reasons why I've decided to have a school. Because you quite realize that a quite number of people today, like you rightly said, are opening the schools simply because they just want to invest in the school business without having passion for it. They want to invest in the school business because they do not really have passion for it. Maybe someone somewhere told them that that is the fastest way of maximizing their profit and having 100% return on investment. And that's the reason why quite a number of people are in the school business today. So passion was one of my key factors, the reason why I've decided to start a school. That was in the year 2014. I haven't been in the system working under someone as the HM of the school for 11 to 12 years. So I've decided to say, I need to fill some gaps. There are some loopholes in which I need to fill. And that was the reason why I've decided to start my school in the year 2014. Then purpose, what's that purpose? The vision. Do I want to have a nursery and primary? Do I want to have a secondary? Then I realized that, okay, what can I do to do better for now? What is in line with my vision? I have the passion, the love for the children, the love for qualitative education, the love for having a standard education, the love to attract young minds, okay, to the education sector, because you quite agree with me that a quite number of people, even the so-called people who are trained teachers, who are qualified teachers, are scared. They are afraid to come into the education sector as a result of poor salary and incentives. So when you tell people that I'm a teacher, the first thing they do is to say, oh, teacher, how? And does that pay you? Does that job pay you? So these are the reasons why I've decided to say, okay, I want to have a school passion to raise a total child and to add value to society at large. I've been telling people, for you to be in the education sector, it means that you have what I call job security. When you are in the education sector, you have job security, you have upper hand than any other sector in the world, any other sector in the world. But we teachers, we do not really upgrade our profession. We look at our profession as a second class profession. And that's the reason why a quite number of times you see people complaining, saying that the teaching, the education sector is nothing to write home about. But I beg to differ. My own purpose of going into that sector is for me to add value and to fill the gap which other schools are not filling. Thank you.
Okay, you can hear he actually had a vision and had a purpose that was burning in his heart, before he set up that school. Okay, so what key factors have been responsible for the success of your school? Would you want to share that?
Yes, there are three factors, the determinant of the school. There are three factors. One, we have the managerial factor. The management of the school is very important. A man who has invested in the school business without having an idea of how it's being run is likely for him to be expecting return on investment on time. A quite number of time we have loopholes in a quite number of schools. As a result of one, a quite number of schools delegate, a quite number of the owner of schools, school owners will delegate. Delegation without giving the people in these key positions the free hand to operate. So one of the key factors that led to the success of our school is delegation, management in place, and we have policy in place. Then another thing is the academic content. The academic content is very important. We are solving the needs of the people. We are solving the needs of parents. Parents are not interested whether the school has problem or not. Parents are not interested whether the school is doing it right or not. What parents are actually interested in is to ensure that the school is solving the needs of their problem in terms of, let's say, okay, academic, a child cannot write, a child cannot read, a child is not having a legible handwriting. What can the school do for the child? Okay, so academic content is another factor. We ensure that we render quality services to our parents. We render services that when they see, it's uncomparable with other schools around. So another thing is the social content. What do I mean by social content? Socialization. Social content is another currency that schools we need to is a currency in which we schools need to develop our pupils on in terms of debate, in terms of cultural day, in terms of art day, a quite number of programs, in terms of a prize giving day and all that, which parents look forward to. Then another key factor is the environmental factor. Environmental factor is very, very, very important. The 21st century want to look at that school that I'm taking my child to. Is it conducive for learning? So one of the factors also is the environmental factor, which has been our selling point. We have the social content, we have the academic content, then we have the environmental content, then we have management in place. When we have all these things in place, when we have the management in place without other content like the social content, then parents would demand for it. Once parents are demanding for it and the schools are unable to submit their need or fill the gap in the sector, then they'll be forced to look elsewhere. This is what PKHIS is doing. This is what our schools is doing to ensure that we become fair among equals in Badagry and Lagos states.
Okay, so it means that for a school to succeed, you must have good management in place. And I see that quite enough from my experience, because I'm into administration and management, and I see the large turnover of people in management in schools, and there's this rift kind of between people who manage schools with the school owners. So Mr. Adedigba has made us to understand that there's a great need to hire the right people and arm them and allow them to work. In other words, you delegate the running of your school to somebody who is capable. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, it's very important. You see, when you have a management,
Exactly, and give them a free hand to run. He has also
That is the
mentioned a
point.
robust curriculum, and then of
Mm.
course developing social skills in children, and these are the factors that have been really helpful in building his brand. Okay, so would
Mm.
you say that a school business is a financially profitable venture?
Yes, the school business is profitable. It's a financial profitable venture for those who really understand the rudiment of the business. Because a quite number of people do not really understand the rudiment of the business. Then you see them lamenting, you see them complaining. Okay, a school that started within second year, and such a school owner is expecting return on investments. Then at the end of the day, you see them saying, "Oh, I'm not really seeing my return on investment because the purpose, the motive of starting the school is on profits, not really rendering effective services." A quite number of those people who have their mindset on return on investment often complain because the first year, second year, they've invested in the business. What they are expecting is return on their investment. So, what does this mean? This means that once you have the passion and the vision, the purpose of starting a school, of course, you have return on investment. Because once you are meeting the needs of the kids, you are meeting the needs of the parents, of course, they will tell their friends through what I call referrals. Once they tell their friends, you are in business, you attract people, you'll be able to retain them. Once you retain them, you know your target audience, you render qualitative service, you render qualitative service delivery, then of course you maximize profits. School business is capital intensive. Of course, there is return on investment in it for those who really know the rudiments of the business.
Okay, you mentioned people expecting returns in like 2 years. So on the average, what is the number of years that one could expect returns on their investment? Because I think this is a very big factor. I've had to step in as a consultant between school owners and maybe the school administrators, where a school owner was about to lay off the school administrator because she thought that the school administrator wasn't performing after 3 years of setting the business, and they were not making huge profits. So for
Mm.
such a person, what advice would you give? What's the range of the number of years before you start expecting profits or returns
If
on your investment in a school?
if you ask me, 0 to 5 years is a period of learning, unlearning, and relearning. The 0 to 5 years is a period which I call experience gathering period. Is a period in which you are just building your brand. Do not forget that there are quite a number of schools in existence before yours. Do not forget that there are quite a number of schools that just started the same time in which you started your school. So to these school owners who have started, let's say 5 years ago or 0 to 5 years, what they should be doing is for them to attract people to their school, for them to be able to say that okay, they are bringing different thing entirely to the system. We have Montessori, we have other style of teaching, method of teaching. What method are they bringing? What other things are they bringing to the system that is different from what they've been doing, that other people have been doing? Okay, let's say for example we have 5 schools in the location where my school is. We are all doing the same thing. I need to do something that will convince parents, to show parents that, oh, we are different. We are first among equals. So the 0 to 5 years, there are exceptional cases whereby a school can make break even within that 0 to 5 years. That is if the owner of the school understand the rudiment of running an effective school. That is one. Then knowing the target audience is very, very important. Knowing the target audience. When you establish a school in a low cost environment and you are charging, like, let's say for example 500,000 or 250,000, then you've not really done your feasibility study to understand your target audience. Can they be able to afford the school fees? There is a word here I'm going to say, which is affordability. If parents cannot afford it, then you are not in business. Your school must be meeting the needs of some people. Those people are your target audience. Once you are able to meet the needs of the people who are your target audience, of course you maximize profits even before 5 years. But if you do not really understand the rudiment of the business without carrying out your feasibility study, knowing your target audience, then there is a problem. So there are exceptional cases whereby within 0 to 5 years, there are some schools who are break even, but it's not really common. So 0 to 5 years is a period in which you are building a brand. You are building a name for yourself. You are attracting people to your school. Then when you attract them, how can you retain them? You can only retain them through quality service delivery. Then you can maximize profits. Thank you.
Okay, So school owners, you've heard it from the horse's mouth. It takes about 5 years, 5 years before you can break even. So those of you fighting your school administrators and threatening to lay them off after 1 year, 2 years of setting up your school, you might have to have a rethink and go back to the drawing board to really plan and see how to go ahead with it. So Mr. Adedigba, people start schools. And what about those who start schools out of passion and do not know anything about the business side? Because there are two sets of school owners that I have encountered. There are those who actually understand what school business is. They understand the curriculum. They understand a lot of things, but maybe they have issues with bringing in the right managers or delegating. And then there are those who have the money with nothing at all, with no idea what a school is. Oh, there are three actually, and then there are those who actually have the money, yes, and set up schools and do not know anything about schools, and so they expect magic. Then there are those who are very passionate. They are driven by passion, but do not know the business side of school. And so these ones will tell you, oh, I'm just here, I just love children, I just want to set up a school, oh, I just love children. And then when they get in, they realize that there's a business side to it. They have to pay bills, they have to pay electricity bills, pay salaries. The power situation in Nigeria is awful. And so a lot of the money goes into running the generators to produce power. And at the end of the day, they see that they keep pumping in money, and the passion that actually drove them to start the school begins to wane. So what would you say to the people who are passionate but do not know the business side of school?
Passion is very important. The love of what you are doing. It's more or less like if you don't love children, then you can't be in the education sector. You must love children. The business has to do with people's business. And that's the reason why you have three basic skills for a school manager or a school owner. We have the conceptual skill, the technical skill, the human relation skill. That is the mother of all skill, the human relation skill, the people management skill. Oh, you have the passion. You know your strength. You know your weakness as a school owner. A quite number of time as school owners, we appraise our teachers, we appraise the teaching staff, we appraise the non-teaching staff. The big question is, who appraise the school owner? As a school owner, you have the passion. You know your loopholes. Your record keeping is not properly kept. You know your loopholes. You know what your loopholes are. Why not consult? Why not consult? Why not ask questions? Why not tell people about your weakness? I mean, professionals in that area. Why not tell them about your administrative problems? Bring them in to tell you this is how you will do it. But how many of the school owners want to pay consultants? How many of the school owners want to engage the service of a consultant? How many of the school owners want to pay for seminars? How many of the school owners want to buy books? How many of the school owners want to go for training? How many of them are ready to tell people, the professionals, that, okay, this is my weakness and I need help? How many of them are ready to tell people their weakness? I mean, professionals. How many of them are ready? So if the word ego, if a school owner can remove the word E from the word ego, then they can go further than the way they think they are at the moment. A quite number of schools remain where they are as a result of school owners not wanting to admit their mistake and seek help. So once you have passion as a school owner, you have a weaknesses, you know those weaknesses, then seek help from the professionals. For example, you, Mrs. Nancy, for example, they can consult you as a consultant. There are quite a number of consultants doing big things out there. They can consult them. But the big question is, how many of the school owners are ready to pay consultants?
Okay, so thank you so much. So you've heard it all. You must really get to the nitty-gritty of what it takes to start a school. And I want to add here that you must have a vision, because I've seen schools start, you ask the school owner, what exactly is your vision? So that maybe the consultant or whoever you're engaging can actually help you interpret it and bring it to life. And some will tell you, I just want to start a school. I just want, what's your vision? What's your mission mission statement? What are the core values? What's your philosophy? What exactly is driving you to start the school, apart from making money, or apart from thinking maybe it's a retiring plan for your life, or for whatever? So those are the things you also need to look at. Okay, so let's look at some assumptions. What assumptions would you want to bust? Because people start schools, there are all kinds of assumptions. I don't want to start enumerating too many of them, but what would you want to say about this to bust these assumptions about starting schools? What's the stark reality, the challenges they will face, what exactly it is? Because people think it's so rosy to just start a school, and go and sit down and then watch it. They just think that magic will happen and it will grow. So what would you say about some of those assumptions?
A quite number of people often have that assumption, that belief that when immediately they start school, let's say they open the school today, within a year, they are millionaires. They start going to Bahamas for holiday. They start going to Dubai for holiday. The school business takes time. It's up and downs. Okay. There is this belief that, once I'm having the facilities in place, we have the mission, we have the vision statement, we have the core values in place, we have the teachers, we have professional teachers, our teachers are master degree holders, blah, blah, blah. We make a lot of money and all that. It's beyond money. Without rendering effective services, maximizing profits, like I said, is going to be very difficult. Like the question you just asked now, let's be candid with ourselves, okay? A quite number of people are having that assumption that it's rosy, okay? That they are going to make a lot of money. It's not about money. It's not about maximizing profit. And that's the reason why people often put gigantic building structures in place, believing that immediately they have the facility, they have the playground gear, they have television, they have the cameras in the class and all that, they will maximize profit. So they need to do away with that belief that immediately they start maximizing profit. They need to first render effective service delivery. I've been hammering on it. They need to start rendering effective service delivery. Yes, beautiful structure, qualified teachers, robust curriculum will attract people to your school. What can retain them is quality service delivery. So without that, then any other assumption that he or she, the owner of the school is having, then is zero. Because without quality service delivery, then you can maximize profit. So the assumption is always based on when you start within 2 years, you make your money. When you start within a year, you're already a millionaire. It doesn't work like that, because you need to reinvest back to the school. You need to feed the school. The school is more or less like a baby. It's more or less like a child. You need to see the child grow. You wouldn't want the child to start to be starved. You wouldn't want the child to start to die of malnutrition. So you need to reinvest back to the business without expecting quick returns on investment. It takes time. It's a gradual process. Yes.
Okay, you just mentioned the word process now. So what advice would you give to intending school owners? That's the steps involved. Could you just take them through the steps involved with starting a school?
We have different type of people who want to start a school. There are people without capital, they want to start a school. There are people who are the money bags, they have the money already in place. Those people who want to start a school, we have two categories of them. There are people without capital. There are people who want to start on rent. There are people who want to start on rent. My advice for them is for them to pay for lease, not rent. What do I mean by lease? They can easily pay for maybe 10 to 15 years so that the landlord will not disturb them. Like after the lockdown, quite a number of schools closed down as a result of landlord problem. Some of them went back to the school. Their schools have been closed down as a result of their rent has expired, leading to the death of some school owners. So those people that are about to start on rent, they need to have in the mind that they do not really have a school. That was what my mentor told me when I was about to start my school. He said, having a school on rent, it means you do not have a school. Not that you do not have a school. He's telling me so that I will not relax.
Wow.
I should be able to focus. I should be able to forge ahead that any moment, anytime the landlord can come to say that he wants to use his property. Now, the second group of people, those who are starting the money bags, those who really have the money, they really want to invest and all that. Now, one of those things that you need to do is you need to go for name search. That's the first thing, not Corporate Affairs Commission. Name search is very, very important after putting all your facilities in place. Name search, for example, I can easily talk of that of Lagos State. After you must have gone for your name search, the name of your school has been approved, then you can easily go for CAC. A quite number of people have been making that mistake of going to the Corporate Affairs Commission first before going for name search in the Ministry of Education. When you go to the Ministry of Education first for your name search and CAC does not approve that name, then it's a problem if you want to open a bank account. So name search is very important. When the Lagos State government has approved, or the government of that state has approved the name that you are about to use, then you can forge ahead to have your CAC. Then after having your CAC, you've registered the school. It depends on the powers of the school owner, because like I said, we have two categories of people starting a school, intending school owner. Those starting on rent, their school cannot be approved on rent. If you are on rent, your school cannot be approved on rent, because there are quite a number of factors you need to put in place. But when you are on your permanent site, immediately you pay for the money for, immediately you pay for name search and your name has been approved. You pay for what I call site inspection. When you pay for site inspection, they come to your school to inspect whether the facilities are in place. And immediately you've done that, then they can easily give you an approval, but it takes time. Approval is not something that they will just come that day and give you an approval. They must have checked whether you have all the facilities, the curriculum and all that, and what have you. So you need to have your facilities in place. You need to employ qualified teachers. You need to have your head of school. You need to have department by department, your robust curriculum. You need to have your classes in place and all that. Then passion, purpose. What is the purpose? Your vision, your mission statement, your core value. Then the school culture. These are things you need to know. You are not just doing the business because people are doing it. You need to have that passion. You need to have that vision statement, that mission statement. I have seen a school who's just started. Immediately they start, after 6 months, they are thinking of having a secondary school. Immediately, some schools that have been in existence for the past 10 to 15 years, the day they have secondary school, the nursery and primary arm of the school start having problem. So as an intended school owner, you need to start thinking about all those things. Okay, we like reading the success stories of schools like Corona, British International School, ambassadors, and all that. We are not ready to read the failure story of some schools that have been in existence before them. There are quite a number of schools that have been in existence before the schools. What happened to those schools? So we need to know. So as an intended school owner, you don't read success stories about schools alone. You also read the failures about other schools in order for you to know what you can do to be better off, in order for you to know the strength and weakness, and what are those things that you are bringing into on the table. You need to bring new things. The reason why those things, your USP, unique selling points, are the reason why people should leave other schools that have been in existence for long to be able to come to your school. Do you want to be having a teacher and an assistant teacher? Do you want to be using a British curriculum? Which type of curriculum do you intend to use? So you need to sit down as an intending school owner, look schools around you, make your feasibility studies. What are those things that they are not doing right? Then you want to put those things in place. You want to convince parents. You want to attract them. What means do you want to advertise to parents? What means of publicity do you intend to have? Are you going to the malls? Are you sharing flyers? Are you doing radio jingles? Are you going on social media, the Facebook, the Instagram, or your WhatsApp status? How do you intend to attract people to your school? Yes.
Okay, so I see people starting schools and they would say we're starting both an early years, primary and secondary at the same time. What's really your advice on that? Do you think it's wise to start at all the arms, or just grow maybe from a nursery school and then grow into the primary, and then the primary emerges into the secondary?
If you ask me, the best advice is for them to start from early years first. Once they start from early years or early years and primary, okay, once they understood the market very well, then they can easily go for secondary. That is if it's in line with their vision. If it's not in line with their vision, then it's not advisable. Look at those people starting from early years, primary and secondary school. There are quite a number of them who want to maximize profit, and that's the reason why they are starting all without testing the water, whether it's going to really work or not. You don't start a school by starting early years and primary and secondary school immediately. You need to start from somewhere. Okay, you need to experience of the early years, that of experience of running a school of early years, then primary section, early years and primary section. Once you have done that, then you can easily upgrade to secondary school. I think that will really work. That will really help the school owners who have started both early years and primary. So the best advice is for them to start both early years and primary instead of them starting early years, primary, and secondary school at the same time. Yes.
Okay. So what advice would you give to school owners in terms of fixing their school fees? Because this seems to be a very big factor. You see schools going to, you see school intending school owners checking out schools in the neighborhood, and then they just fix a price based on another school's fees, or even steal their whole fees schedule, and then they later realize that, well, it's not working for them. So how do you fix your fees as a school owner?
Feasibility study. Okay. You move around the environment, carry out your research. How much are they charging for school fees? The nature of the job of parents. What can they afford to pay? The nature of the job of parents. Let's say, for example, schools in Lekki, you can't compare schools in Lekki with schools in Agbara. You can't compare schools in Agbara with schools in Ikeja. You can't compare schools in Ikeja with schools in Badagry. Okay, environmental factors differ, the lifestyle of parents differ, the exposure of parents differ, their source of income differs. You can't expect those people, schools in some area in Port Harcourt, to be charging the same thing with schools in Adagun or a place in Badagry. So what's the point? The point here is you need to carry out your feasibility study. Look, let's be sincere with ourselves. If you have a school, okay, you have the structure, you have everything in place, and I have a school, a local school, and we are rendering the same quality service delivery. Parents will want to weigh the option. Why do they need to pay higher for the same service? For the same services. So of course they want to come to my school because they can afford it. I have seen a situation whereby parents want to pay school fees. You see them, they are annoyed, they are upset for even paying the school fees because they are not happy. They are seeing that more or less like schools are exploiting them. They see it as a means of exploitation. When you overcharge parents, the school fees is on the high side, then you struggle for population. We are not saying that you should have the old pupils in the community to yourself, but the point here is you should be able to charge what parents can afford by going around, by carrying out your own feasibility study. When you carry out your feasibility study, okay, the most expensive school within that environment is charging 500,000. Another school, the second most expensive school, is charging like, let's say, 450,000. Now you are now coming on board with the same facilities and you want people to come. You can easily attract them with, let's say, 350,000 for a start. Once they see the type of quality service that you are rendering is of the same with that school that is rendering that is charging 500,000. Of course, you attract people to yourself. Then what do you need to do to retain them? That is quality service delivery.
Wow. Okay, so there's so much competition, and schools actually spring up every school year. Already, someone has contacted me in Abuja. She wants to start a school by the next school year. She's already planning. With all this teeming number of schools springing up, how do you even keep up as a school? Is it not intimidating to see so many schools in every corner? How do you even make a mark, to make sure that you attract parents to you?
Schools will continue to spring up as far as we can't stop a married woman from being pregnant. Yes, schools will continue to spring up, and schools are still springing up. There are some schools, okay, they've been in existence for the past 60 years. There are some schools, they've been in existence for the past 35 years. There are some schools, they've been in existence between the range of 0 to 5 years, and they are nowhere to be found. Do you know why? Schools will continue to spring up as far as mothers, parents giving birth, people keep marrying, people keep having children. Schools will continue to spring up. Now, once schools are springing up, there is no cause for alarm once you render quality service delivery. I've been laying emphasis of quality service delivery. Once you are able to solve the need of parents have no choice. So as schools are springing up, there are schools that have been in existence for the past 20 years, and parents are still taking their children there. What does this mean? This means that as schools are springing up, those schools have been in existence that have what I call standard. They will not lose the share of the market. That is if they don't exploit parents by keep increasing the school fees every time. We have schools, they keep increasing the school fees almost timely. And some schools, they increase the school fees almost every section. So, and the economic situation, okay, is another thing to consider. The economic situation is another thing to consider. Once schools are springing up and you keep increasing the school fees, the economy is somehow, then of course, then those schools will be having a challenge. If you ask me, those schools will be having a challenge. So schools springing up shouldn't scare you because you are not serving the same market. We have different markets. We have markets for low income earners. We have markets for the average income earners, and we have markets for the the rich, the super rich parent. So what are your own target market? Like for example, quite a couple of months back, a woman was about to start a school. She had a very big structure in place. People were scared. Other school owners within that environment were scared. One of them told me, she said, "Yeah, look at that woman. It seems she wants to start a school and all that." What I just told her was, I told her, look at, are you serving the same market? She said, no. I said, what's the range of her school fees? She said she overheard that she wants to be charging 50,000. I said, you are not serving the same market. You are charging 25,000. She's serving 50,000 naira. So what does this mean? A new school springing up with an existing school, they are not serving the same market. Now, in a situation whereby a school is serving the same market, then the old school needs to step up their game. Okay, they need to step up their game. So school springing up shouldn't be an issue for schools, because healthy competition is very, very good in any business. So healthy competition is welcome. I do not really see the big deal for school springing up, to me, if you ask me.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, I've also met school owners who do not even know whether they are breaking even, running at a loss, or they are just there because they don't keep records. I've met school owners who do not know anything about budgeting. They do not know how much they spend. Someone just travels and decides to buy books, buy, and dumps them in the library. Someone just sees nice toys and baby things for the crash and buys, and then dumps them without keeping proper record. So when they now get a consultant and you ask them, can I even see your expenses like over the past 3 years that you've started and where you are now? They'll tell you, oh, sorry, we don't even have records. No records of stores, no records of, no bookkeeping, just haphazardly done everything. So what advice do you have for such people? Because it's so complex.
They need to have record. Record is very, very important. They need to have what I call income and expenditure record. Okay. Now, a quite number of times you hear school owners say, is it not my money? It's my money now. Why will you tell me not to spend from my money? The money is my money. I have been telling school owners they should separate themselves from the school. If possible, pay themselves salary. I told a school owner, you need to pay yourself salary if you really want to keep growing, if you want to maximize profit. And that's the reason why sometimes once school owners are not maximizing profit, they put all the problems on the school. They start what I call blame games. They start blaming the head of school. They start blaming the teacher. They start blaming the non-teaching staff for their own shortcomings. If you really want to have an effective school, a school that will break even, a school that will maximize profits for you, then you need to treat it as a business. Okay? If you don't treat it as a business, then there's a problem. You need to have an account for the school. Okay? The school account should be different from your own personal account. And it is not all parties a school owner must attend. You see a school owner like, can I get 50,000 there? They have a bursar, yet the bursar is just there. The bursar doesn't really have finance. Madam has collected more than 150,000 in a week. If you ask Madam what has she used it to do, Madam cannot explain. If you ask Oga what has he used the money to do, he cannot explain, because if the school belongs to him and he can spend anyhow, he can spend from the school. So what's the point? The point is that the school owners should separate the school account from their own self. The school owners should pay themselves salary. If it's 100,000 that is going to be their salary, they should pay themselves 100,000. Okay? Though it's not really easy, but discipline is very important if you really want to grow a successful school brand. Thank you.
Okay, I really like that part of record keeping, bookkeeping, very important. Honestly, I was shocked because that has happened in a few schools where I asked for records and they didn't have records of expenses. Even for events, they'll tell you the school owner just transferred from her account and told us to go and hire DJ, hire this, buy this. So no proper records were kept for all of these things. So the school owners, some of them do not even know when they are breaking even or when they are running at a loss because they do not keep adequate records. I also want to emphasize the importance of budgeting at the beginning of every school year. It's very important that you work with a budget and decide, okay, this is our expected income, and this is actually what we expect to spend. So you will even know when you're spending out of the budget and how to make up for it. in as much as the money comes in, it does not mean that all of it is actually your gain, because the upkeep of a school is so demanding. I'm sure Mr. Adedigba will take us through the various things that school owners spend on. I do know that diesel is one of them because of the power situation, especially if you run a school where you have smart boards, there must be light, the ACs must be on, all the fans must be on daily. It's a whole lot, really. So we do want to throw more light on the various expense areas in a school.
There are quite a number of various expense areas. Expenses of schools, of course, you always spend, but it depends on the school. It depends on which type of school that you are running. There are some schools, like you said, they have smart board. There are some schools they use chalkboard. There are some schools they use only board. We have issue of marker. We have issue of salary. Salary is part of the expenses. Salary is also part of expenses. How much are you paying salary? The teachers, how much do you intend to increase their salary? Apart from the teachers, the non-teaching staff, the maintenance of the school. Sometimes you want to replace a chair. Sometimes you want to repair the school bus. And that's the reason why, like I said, record keeping, the account of the school bus should be different from the school, because school bus on its own is another school entirely. The school bus is another school entirely. A quite number of schools, you see the school bus being pushed. A quite number of time after using the school bus for a year or 2 years, they've changed it already as a result of not understanding that they need to separate this account from one another. The school bus account should be there with somebody in charge. The school fees account should be there. The uniform account should be there. The eatery account, there are some schools that are stock shop belonging to the school owner. They should have different accounts. So there are a lot of expenses in the school. And I can't say all these expenses, like I said, because we are on different kind of school. There are some schools, they don't even have generator. Okay. So there are some schools, they have generator. There are some schools, they have a very big mechanical generator. So it depends on the kind of schools that you want to run. The school business, you can't predict the expenses, okay? You can predict the expenses in the sense that there are certain things that come out that you want to really buy. There are certain things that come out that you want to really do. For example, okay, let's say after the rain fell, the fence has broken, there's an expenses, okay? And that's the reason why when budgeting, you need to have what I call miscellaneous in case of incasity. I think I've answered that.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's talk, no school can run without effective staffing. So how have you been able to manage the relationship with your teachers and management team so that the school runs effectively?
Teachers at the school. Without the teachers, we don't have a school. That's the reality. Without the teachers, we don't have a school. So it's important for us to take care of the teachers. We look at their salary on time. Teachers do not joke with their salary. The increment of salary, the teachers' welfare, incentives. Okay, as we are going for midtime, what bonuses do we want to give them? What do we have for them? There are schools that at the end of the month, after paying the teachers, they give them a little bit food stuff, a little bit beverages in order to support them. The incentive for school fees of teachers, a teacher that has a degree, you can sponsor him or ask him, okay, we are paying for your master's, you pay half, we pay half. A teacher that has NCE, you can easily support that teacher by saying that, okay, we want you to further your education. Okay, let the teacher know that you are part of their family. The period of their birthday, celebrate with them, wish them well. Teachers, they celebrate them, encourage them, tell them how important they are to the development of the school. Because without the staff, there is no school. And without the staff, the staff made up a school. They are the reason why people are still coming to that school. And that's the reason why we should be able to take care of them. You see some schools, you see their teacher, the school owner is looking very healthy, the school owner is looking very good looking, but the teachers are nothing to write home about. So it's very important for us to take care of our teachers because they are the ambassadors of our schools. Teachers' salary at the right time, on-the-job training is very, very important. You see schools asking teachers to pay for training. It's uncalled for. And that's the reason why sometimes if they want to leave, they leave without even telling madam that they want to leave. It's as a result of what that motivation is not there. That encouragement is not there. Once we are able to pay their salary at the right time, encourage them to be specialists in their area of specialization, encourage them to take courses, encourage them for in-house seminars, have a one-on-one discussion with them, hear their pains and their gains. I believe our school is going to thrive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for emphasizing the role of teachers in developing the school, because some school owners feel this way. They feel that if they just have the money to set up a really, really great facility, and then they can treat teachers the way they like. Their parents are just wowed with their school buildings. I want to say that the buildings do not make a school. The school facilities alone, the physical facilities do not make a school. The human resource is the driving force of any school. They are the ones that actually bring your vision to life, and maintaining a relationship with your teachers and the management team is absolutely important if your school must succeed. Absolutely important. Absolutely important. And that's because teachers can run down your school if they want to. Honestly, I've heard of a school where all the teachers had a meeting and decided to leave on the same day. And of course, such a school can never be the same again. So some school owners believe, well, teachers come and they go as they like, so there's no need to invest in them. Please invest in the professional and personal development of your staff. It's very important. Because even if they end up staying with you for so long, if they are not properly trained, it's going to show on the delivery that they give, even to the parents and the students. Because some people are afraid to invest in teachers because of the large staff turnover. And so they would say, well, if we invest in them, how do we know they are coming back next term? What if they take the knowledge to another school? Well, what if they stay with a lack of knowledge and their poor development? That is what they will have to give to you. I think it's a better risk to take to train them so that they stay with you. And even if they do move on, you've actually sown a seed to the country by developing teachers, because, and it will be something of pride to know that someone came from your place to another school and is bringing in value. It even rates your school in a better way. I know it's tough sometimes, especially financially, but please develop your staff. And sometimes the training doesn't have to be out of your organization. You might have resource people even within you. Start from what you have. People complain about money a lot. These days, there are lots of online courses that are free. And you can get on Allison, you can get on so many, I can have a whole lot of them. You can get on web, just Google free online courses for teachers, free online courses for school leaders, and you see a whole lot of them will pop up. And then you begin to search the ones that suit your needs, and then go ahead and, do something about it. Okay, so what's the role of maybe organizations or associations in developing a school? Does your school belong to any association?
Yes, my school belongs to an association called PEDAN, Private Education Developers Association of Nigeria, PEDAN. Yes, my school belongs to that association for us to be able to speak in a voice. We have different kind of association. We have NAPS, we have AFED, we have Apex, we have different kind of association. We have League of Muslim and all that. We are all working towards a goal, and that is the goal of raising a total child, the goal of giving a voice to the Nigerian children, the goal of complementing the effort of government in providing qualitative education. So I belong to an association just for us to be able to speak in one voice. That's the reason why I belong to an association. And there are some benefits of joining an association that are benefits in the sense that you want government to do certain thing, okay, for your school. You can speak through the association, and I believe government will listen. Yes.
Okay, so you would say that there are benefits to actually joining these organizations. Yes. Okay, so what other advice would you have for school owners generally from your experience?
The school business is a profitable business. We should not joke with parents. We should not joke with teachers. No teachers is small. No parent is small. Yes, because we are running a people's business. That's the reason why I spoke about the human relation. I said that's very, very important. Without the human relation, then you cannot be in the school business. You will see teachers who will provoke you. You will see teachers, you will see parents who will talk to you. You as a school owner, you are more or less like an ambassador representing your brand. Your school brand is bigger than you as a school owner, okay? So I have seen school owners who are buried, when I say buried in quotes, their school as a result of the way they talk. They are saucy, they are rude. I'm sorry to use the word that, the way they talk, the way they speak with people without controlling their emotional intelligence. Their emotions is very important. The way they talk to teachers before the parents. When you talk to teachers before the parents anyhow, it's not the teachers that you are disrespecting, rather is the brand, the reputation of your school brand that you are soiling. So it's always very important for us as school leaders to control our emotions. Yes, there are instances whereby teachers will provoke us, but we need to control our emotions. There are instances whereby parents will talk to us the way we do not really like. We need to control our emotions because we are dealing with people. Parents have nothing to lose. Your school is the brand. You are representing the brand of your school. Your school is bigger than both you and that parent. The parent can go, but your school will remain. We are in the era of 21st century parents that uses social media. I have seen it on different forums on social media whereby parents go online to complain about a particular school. I've seen it where parents snap the assignments given to their children and post it on social media. As a result of, we are dealing with educated parents, unlike what we used to have before, that those parents taking their children to schools are not literate. But now we have parents who want to know what you are teaching their children. They want to be involved. They want to be a partaker. Okay, so to school owners, my advice is we need to be very, very careful. I have seen school owners open a WhatsApp group. If you do not really have a genuine reason for opening a WhatsApp group, please don't open it. If you do not really know what you are supposed to say at the PTA meeting, please call it maybe once in a time. In a section, or if you know what you will say at the PTA, then you can call it once on a time. It depends on you anyway. So the school owners need to understand the importance of filing. Well, what do I mean by that? Giving appointment letters to our teachers, job description, the code of conduct to our teachers. Okay, and we need to have what I call a department, what I call the thinking or creative department. Okay, we need to have that department in our school where our teachers can easily offer advices to us, because sometimes we do not even listen to the advices of our teachers as school owners. We need to start having that listening ears. It's the beauty of communication. Okay, it's part of communication skill. The school owner needs to have listening ears. Listen to them, even if it's a bad advice. Listen to what they want to say. Maybe that advice from that teacher you have commonized, that advice from that teacher you have looked down on, is what will take the school to the next level. Thank you.
Wow, I really like that part of listening to advice, because I've seen schools where the owner resides in the UK, starts a school here, and just doesn't even get feedback regularly. Or the school administrators complain that they send reports, they send updates, and they don't get any responses from them. So there's a need as a school owner to listen to the people who are actually in the field. That's the teachers, and then the school administrators and the management team. It's very important that you hear from them regularly, and because they are the ones who interface directly with the students and the staff and the parents, they usually would have things that will help you to fill the gaps that your organization is facing. So there's a need to communicate frequently and regularly with them to get feedback that will be used in decision making. Very important. So thank you so much for being on this show, Mr. Adedigba. Do you have
Thank
any
you for having
program
me.
coming up or any product you'd like the audience to know about?
It's just one of my seminars, that I'm trying to bring up. It's just more or less like 20 things every school owner must do for them to have a leading school, for them to have a successful school. That is the program coming up on the 4th and 5th of November. That is during the midterm. Is on WhatsApp anyway. It's a program I call the 20 things every school leaders must do for them to have a leading school, coming up on the 4th and 5th of November by special grace of God next week, Gospel Our Life. Then I have other speaking engagement, which is personal. It's based on some association that have invited me to come and speak, which I'll be attending. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. I do appreciate.
Oh, you're welcome. Please, if you're a school owner, you might want to check out the Innovative School Owners group on Facebook, and it's actually founded by Mr. Bello Abdulrahman Adedigba. So please do check that group. He shares a lot of very useful tips and his personal experiences and tips as a school owner, and they will really be useful to you. And remember to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button so that you'll be notified whenever there's a video upload. Remember, this show is Administration with Nancy, and every week we drop a video, so be on the lookout, and please make comments on it and share the video so that it reaches as many people as possible. And very important, if you're a school owner, take your pen and paper and go through this video again, and then take notes along the way on areas where you need to correct yourself. So it's been me, Nancy Ekwezu, with Mr. Bello Abdulrahman Adedigba. Adedigba, and we want to say thank you for being on this show today, and bye for now.
Bye-bye. Hey, thank
See
you
you
very
in the
much.
next video. Thank you.